Good morning, students. In the last video, I explained you what is an asset. I gave you some certain examples of how to differentiate that an expenditure is called as an asset. Today, I'm going to explain you what is an expense. So let's check out what is an expense. An expense is a resource or expenditure, the benefit of which the business has already consumed during the operation of the company for a specific accounting period. Right. So this is also an expense. Asset was also an expense. Oh, then how do I differentiate? So the main differentiator in the expense is that I have already consumed, or the benefit or of which I have already consumed during the operation of the company of a specific accounting period is called an expense. So when I am spending something, I have to see the benefit have I already taken, or I have already consumed, or I am going to consume. If I have already taken the benefit of which consumed, then I'm going to call it as an expense. And you know where to show the expense? Expense is shown in the P&L account of the company, right? So keep in mind when I'm spending something, for example, I gave the salary to my employees for the benefit that they are working for me, then I'm going to call it as an expense. But if I pay a salary in advance to my employees because they need something, they requested me to pay them in advance, then I'm going to call it as an asset. So I'll call it as a prepaid salary, and I'm going to show that expense or that salary in the asset side of balance sheet, right? So certain examples of an expense: rent, utilities, salaries, insurance, fuel and maintenance expenses of a vehicle, equipment rental. If I am taking any equipment or plant and machinery on rent and I am paying the rent to that another company for using that equipment, and now I am going to call it as an expense, right? So always keep in mind the expense. How do you find out that whether I'm going to call it as an expense, which I'm going to show it in the P&L account? That any expenditure, the benefit of which the business has already consumed during the operations of the company for a specific accounting period. Specific accounting period, what is an accounting period? It will be, most of the times, it will be post April to 31st March of the next year. My accounting period starts on 1st April and ends on 31st March of the next year. That's for that specific accounting period. If I am doing certain expenditure, then I'm going to call it as a expense, and I'm going to post it in the P&L account of the company. I hope you understood the basic definition or meaning of the expense. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye bye.